CEL, Communications and Entertainment Limited.
Hello and welcome to another movie from the Bill Collins movie collection, and what a movie this one is. Brilliant Mrs. Miniver, directed by William Wyler, one of the greatest films ever produced at MGM. Mrs. Miniver by Jan Struther is not actually a novel, it's a collection of sketches which she wrote for the Times in England in the late 1930s. Christopher Morley, a very astute critic, said this: "My favourite heroine this summer, the 20th century's only humane achievement, the civilised woman. If you don't relish Mrs. Miniver, you are not a connoisseur of human beings." And Clifton Fadiman wrote in the New Yorker, "Mrs. Miniver, like Charles Lamb, will place a gentle hand on your elbow and bid you stop to observe something quite insignificant. And lo, it is not insignificant at all." Mrs. Miniver is the story of people under great stress during World War II. It's a moving story with its share of wit and wonderful characters. Greer Garson deservedly won her Academy Award for her portrayal of Mrs. Miniver. Sheer perfection. And with her, Walter Pidgeon. They were teamed for the second time in this film. The first was Blossoms in the Dust, and were to play it again together on several occasions. The cast is very interesting. I'll just mention a few people. Richard Ney, who plays the older son of the Minivers, and the girl with whom he falls in love, played by Teresa Wright, who deservedly won her Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, along with Greer Garson for Best Actress. Henry Wilcoxon plays the part of the minister, the vicar. And Henry Wilcoxon, with the director William Wyler, actually worked on the vicar's sermon in the church at the end of the film. A sermon that so impressed President Roosevelt that he had the text reprinted in leaflets in many languages and dropped over German-held territories and broadcast over the Voice of America. The words are stirring. Henry Travers, a delightful character actor, playing the station master, and there he is with his Mrs. Miniver Rose. A great character lady of yesteryear, Dame May Whitty as Lady Belden. This is a great scene in the film. Beside her, Reginald Owen, a favourite character actor of us all. And Helmut Dantine, a relative newcomer to movies in the early 40s. Helmut Dantine only has one sequence in the film, but that sequence, shared with Greer Garson, is one you'll never forget. The more you see Mrs. Miniver, the more you'll find. And lo, what seems insignificant takes on great meaning. And now, Mrs. Miniver. A wonderful film, evoking a time when life had to be put on hold for some people, but for others, it was relished with far more passion than one could imagine. Mrs. Miniver is a very special experience. The more you see it, the more you read the pictures, as well as listen to the words, the more you will love it and learn so much from it. And that sermon is brilliant, deliberately fashioned after the style of Winston Churchill, by the way. And now, other current releases in my movie collection I recommend totally, beginning with Rachel and the Stranger, with Loretta Young as Rachel, Robert Mitchum as a stranger, and what about William Holden? Oh, it's a wonderful movie. Do see it. You'll love it. Gunga Din, one of the greatest movie adventures of all time, inspired by the poem by Rudyard Kipling, with a great cast. And of course, the magnificent Citizen Kane, which means Orson Welles' great triumph. And now, for your entertainment, a preview of Citizen Kane.
There begins the most fantastic movie experience of all time. Here at last, from CEL Home Video, is the masterpiece and first feature, written, produced and directed by Orson Welles.
Mr. Kane was a man who lost almost everything he had.
I've got to make the New York Enquirer as important to New York as the gas in that light.
Charles Foster Kane.
Really, Charles? People will think...
What I tell them to think.
Rosebud?
I tell you about Rosebud. How much is it worth to you? $1,000?
No, I don't know many people.
I know too many people. I guess we're both lonely.
You don't love me. You want me to love you? Sure. I'm Charles Foster Kane. Whatever you want, just name it and it's yours. But you gotta love me.
I'm Charles Foster Kane!
If I hadn't been very rich, I might have been a really great man. As it must to all men, death came to Charles Foster Kane. Rosebud.
Will anyone ever know the secret of Citizen Kane?
CEL, Communications and Entertainment Limited.